Hello? Mhm. Hey, how you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. Just waiting on a couple more minutes before I start. Hopefully, it should be real quick. My part, and if you guys got any questions or any suggestions, just put it in the in the live chat, and then I can answer it, or I can share the information. Just waiting a couple more minutes, then I will start. Give me a couple more minutes. Start. I'm just waiting, like about 2 more minutes before I start, and then like I said, my end will be quick, maybe about 10, 15 minutes, and then you guys can actually uh, comment below. Let me know if you uh, got any questions or you got any suggestions as far as tips. Today we're talking about a cell phone on how to, um, when it comes to teenagers, how like what are some of the rules. Myself, I actually had the pleasure of raising five teenagers, all out of high school right now. So I know a lot of people ask me all the time. Give me 1 second before I start. I just want to. 1 second. I'm start. Just want to do something really fast. All right. So let me just start right now. I just want to. I'm going to give a quick update on myself, and then I go right into the tips. Uh, I had the pleasure of raising five teenagers. I have a total of 7 kids. A lot of people don't know this. Well, if you know me, you know that. But I have a total of 7 kids, and five of them has already went through high school. Uh, all different walks of life as far as careers and all different personality and everything. And so, where a lot of people ask me in the process of raising my kid, because I see, I had a lot of kids. I work with kids, and I do a lot of program with kids. So a lot of people always ask me, how do I manage the kids? How do I talk to them? Even my own kid. So I wrote a book. I'm a published author of 5 books. Recently, 5 books. And so one of the books is 50 tips on raising teens. Sometimes like teenagers are rough, man. Like they're hard to deal with sometimes, and so I just decided to give people tips the way I did it. Like, did I do it right? Do I did it perfect? Absolutely not. But I did the best I can, as my kids. One of my goals as a father was one of the milestone was to get my kids through high school without them actually joining the gang, having kids. Man, 'cause we grew up in a rough neighborhood too. That's what, like, most of their life they grew up in a rough neighborhood, and then like toward the teenager year, that's when I actually moved out into a more decent neighborhood. But let me just again, I was a published author of 5 books. One of them is 50 tips on how to raise team. You can find on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes& Noble website. And so, talking about cell phone uses. So here are the 10 topics that we're going to be talking about for the next 10 Tuesday. The first one, which is today, March 31st, we're talking about cell phone. April 7th, we're talking about social media. Like, how do we talk about social media with kids when kids are asking? There's so many platforms out there. When do we say yes? When do we say no? What are the rules? We're talking about dating, right? Because, kids are dating, or kids actually, teens actually get curious early. Like, what are we saying about dating? When do we let kids clean up? Like, what some of the chores that they're gonna say we give them? 5, as teenager, I know that, well, as kids get older anyway, but as teenager, we're talking about consequences. Like, what are some of the consequences that we give teenagers? Another big one is religious. Like a lot of people, a lot of older people is more religious, where a lot of younger kids and teens maybe believe but don't want to live that life, or don't do either. That they want to live life or believe. How do we deal with that as parents? Another big one is they friends. Like, we're talking about friends at some point. How do we navigate them through their friend, who's the real friends and who's not? Another big one as teenager is paying rent or bills. Like, when do we say paying rent or bills? Do we charge them? Do we not? The other one is lifestyle choices. We'll talk about that as a teen. And then another one is school, like to talk about which high school to pick, college, and other things like that. So those are the 10 topics during the 10 weeks that we'll talk about. But again, today is cell phone tips. So I'm going to talk about that. So here's are the 5 tips that I have, and the reason why not that I have, but that I also implemented into my house. One of them is that parents. Tip number 1 is that I believe that parents should pay their kids' cell phone bill, not because of the privilege of having one, but because they can have more control over it. So I know sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes as teenagers got to wait till they get a job or something to pay their cell phone bill. And what happened is, cell phone is so powerful right now with stuff with things that you can do with it, that if you need to take it away or find some information, the kids are entitled per se to their phone because they bought it and they paid a cell phone bill. So I think the number 1 rule is that the parents should provide the cell phone and pay the cell phone bill. So it's almost like a punishment or a consequence, or even just to keep track of your kids, mean that you gave it to them, you can take it away even as a timeout. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 that I implemented in my house was you turn your phone in according to your grade level. So if you're in 9th grade, then you're gonna turn your phone to me at 9 o'clock. If you're in 10th grade, you turn your phone to me at 10 o'clock. If you're in 8th grade, you turn your phone to me at 8 o'clock. Now, I know sometimes there's different circumstances, meaning that some parents work later, so they might need their child to hold on to their phone until they get off work. Totally understandable. I'm just saying, in a normal setting, most parents probably make it home at a decent time to actually get the kids' phone at night. So again, my second tip is that I have let the teens in my house had to turn their phone in according to their grade level. All right. Tip number 3: if you're like lock codes, like some people are against lock codes, like they don't want their teens to have no lock codes at all. The reason why I allow my kids to have lock code, because if they got a phone, they most likely in school. So and there's a less chance somebody's stealing it if you got a lock code, or there's a greater chance of us recovering the phone if the child can prove the phone by entering a lock code. So I do allow the lock code. However, every child in my house lock code got to be the same. For example, if the lock code is 000 for one, it's going to be 0000 for all of them. And this is just easy for us as parents to manage their phone, easy access to their phone if we need to. So again, tip number 3 is if you have a team, or you have more than one team, the lock code should be the same. Actually, all of our lock codes are the same. Me and my wife have the same lock code as the kids. So, and this remain until they are, we consider them adults, 18 out of high school, and we paying out of high school. We kind of like, okay, cool, you whatever. I mean, you kind of can change the code if you like. But yeah, but at least they're out of high school, you should have the same lock code. Tip number 4: all your teens or kids with phone need to have their location on. So I know this go without saying, but you just want to know where your kids are at all the time. And as much as we want our kids to be 100% perfect, they are not. As much as people tell me, "Oh man, like your kids are this or kids are that, kids are that," they are not perfect by far, and they are kids. That's the one thing we got to remember: kids gonna be kids, and so you have to be parents. And location is, we have these great devices. They're so great. And back in our days, when cell phone could only do nothing but call, but right now they are great tools. So we got to use all these tools. We got to use the location. We got to use any app that will protect them, install them on your phone. And so that's tip number 4. Use the location. Use all the resource you can get from your phone. They are awesome cell phone, smart device. They do a lot of things. So let's use them more than just work for like texts or phone calls or Snapchat or social media. All right, last tip I have for you guys. When setting up your child phone, make sure that you create the email, or this is an email that you approve of, and you have the email address and the password. This way you set the device up. Honestly, I guess my kids, what I did, I created a whole new email. I set the password up, and I didn't even give my kids the password till like later on in high school, like maybe in the junior year, because they wanted the app put on them. I could say, okay, this app or not that app, or what they had to tell me what this app was about. Even like social media stuff like that, they couldn't even download the app unless I approved of it as far on the phone, and just help keep them away from certain things or distracted. So yeah, they have to tell me why they wanted the app, and I had to do my little research. But yeah, that's a good thing to do, and you'll have full access anytime you want to the phone, because you have not only the lock code, but you also have the email and the password that pretty much control behind the scene of the password of the phone, and you can make changes and privacy setting as you please. So those are my 5 tips that I have on cell phone. Like again, next week we'll be talking about social media. I'll be giving you 5 tips on social media about it was a good idea. But if you have anything right now about any tips on cell phone use that you want to share right now, that'd be great. And as people watching this video, even they watch it later, they will see whatever tips you have on your where in your house for your child for our cell phone. But yeah, cell phone, like a lot of when we talk about teens, they talk about teens think it as it's an easy access to social media, to friends, things of that nature. As most of the things that they should be not have too much access to it. But us as parents, we have to know that it's way more than that. They have a lot of awesome tools on this on these smart devices. But as a parent, we want to make sure that we're controlling most of it. So again, I'm just going to recap really fast. Tip number 1: parents should pay the cell phone bill because you have more control over it because you're paying the bill. You can use it as a consequence, like a timeout. Tip number two. Teens should, I would say teens should turn their phone in according to their grade level. This kind of help you get your feeling out of it too as a parent. And just okay, so you're in 9th grade. This is the rule. Respect it. On the weekends you want to give them an extra hour or something. That's fine. Tip number 3 is that you should all have the same passcode, or you should know your child passcode, or don't have one at all. I just don't. Like I said, I do agree that some passcode means that some kids don't need passcode. But when you're in high school, I work at a high school. I see a lot of phones get stolen. And sometimes the only way as a dean, as I'm able to retrieve the phone easy, if I had a child to put in the lock code and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I see the information, like a picture of her in the phone because they screenshot is that. So that's the reason why I recommend it. And then number 4, Again, just locations and all these privacy apps to help you locate your child, because again, teens are teens. They're gonna do what teens do, whether they are in the best setting or the worst. But they are teens, and have location, all the other apps that you need to put on there to protect your child. And five, I would set up a new email password when they create the phone, and new password. And again, I don't give out the password to later on in assault, me junior year or senior year. Junior year for sure, probably towards the end though, depending on how they're doing in school. And then and after that, then I feel like this is a responsible. I can give them the password and they be more responsible. All right, that is it right now. Thank you guys for watching. Next week, we'll talk again about social media. 5 tips on social media. So if you got tips on social media, you can let me know too. All right, peace out. Oh, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Yeah, thank you.